Welcome to the show. We hope you have a blast. Thanks for making time for the Dealer Talk podcast. Another business leader, here's a penny for your thoughts. This ain't a regular conversation, baby. This that Dealer Talk. Yeah, this that Dealer Talk.
Hello, everyone. It's Charity, your host of the Dealer Talk podcast. Herb is out of the office this week, so don't worry, guys. He'll be back. Let's start the charity episode with a secret shop, shall we? Let's pick a state. Tennessee. I've always wanted to go to Tennessee. I think that they have really nice leaves in the fall. That's what I know of Tennessee. We're going to do... We'll do RAM again. Because I'm comfortable with RAM. Are you guys ready? Last time we secret shopped, we were looking for somebody to just ask me for an appointment, and we did not get that far. So let's see. Let's see if we can get them to ask us about a trade.
May be recorded.
Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm my director, Kyle.
Hi, can I have sales?
Sales?
Yes, please.
Hold on a minute, hon.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm looking for a truck.
Oh, awesome. I've got a few of them. What kind exactly are you looking for?
Like a half ton.
Okay. Oh, perfect on that right there. Was there like a certain brand you're looking for?
I really like RAM.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a Ram myself, and I love those right there. They ride really comfortable. Let me ask you this. I do have a lot of those. When would you be available to come in and then I can show you some?
I might be able to come next week. What are some of the options you've got available?
Sure. So let me pull up my website here. Let me ask you this. What are you exactly looking for? Let me ask you that. Are you looking for like a bighorn, heated seats, crew cab, quad cab, anything like that?
Definitely have crew cab.
Crew cab?
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking for new or pre-owned?
Either.
Sure. So just in a crew cab, I have let me ask you this, is there a certain year you're looking for?
Newer,
like
the newer the
body?
better. I do like the newer body style.
Absolutely. I have one of those myself. I have a 2020 with a new body style. Really crew cab, exactly. What about a color?
I really, really hate that like work truck white.
Okay.
Other than that, you know what I mean? It's that.
I do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't want to look like I'm driving a work truck.
I understand. So I'm just going to put in RAM 1500s just for a moment here. Okay. I've got around 25 of those. Okay. I've got a lot of pre-owned 21 models. Okay. 20 models. I've got blue, black. I was going to say white, but I'm not going to say white. Delmonico red, blacks, billet silver.
I like billet silver.
I've got quite a few of those. Then I may tell you about one of them, and then by the time you get here, it'll be sold. And what I like to do is maybe set some time aside for you next week. Come in here. I'll love to show you what I have. Was you thinking more like Tuesday, Wednesday next week or something?
Maybe I could do Wednesday, but probably closer to the end of the week. Tell me about the billet silver one.
Sure. So I'm looking at one right now. I'm pulling it up. Give me just a second. My computer is going so slow here. Okay. This one is a 2019 Ram 1500 Laramie, four-wheel drive. Laramie is going to give you the leather. It's going to give you the heated seats, remote start, nav, memory seats, of course, blind spot monitoring in this one, of course, four-wheel drive. I believe this is going to be somewhere in the mid-40s on this one right here. I actually have a Laramie myself, especially on these cold mornings with remote start, because whenever you almost get ready, you can start it up. By the time you get outside, it's already defrosted, which is pretty nice on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's got somewhere, I believe, around 37,000 miles on it to be in a 19 model. Or it has the running boards on it. The wheels look nice on it. It's the stock wheels really look nice on that. It's the new body style, of course. You mentioned that. So that's just one of them I have.
Okay.
It's but the 5.7 Hemi V8, of course. Great. Like I said, I have this truck. Sometimes a 20. I have this exact truck.
Oh, okay. Tell me what your name is again.
And what was your name again? I'm sorry.
My name's Charity.
Okay, Miss Charity, how do you spell your last name?
It's ANN.
Perfect. Okay, and what's a good callback number for you?
435-414-3129.
Okay. 3129. Okay. Now with next Thursday being Thanksgiving, did you want to come in on Friday? I know some people go shopping that day, or did you want to come in on a Wednesday?
I forgot next week was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Let me look and call you back. I completely spaced that it was Thanksgiving next week. Let me give you a call back.
Okay. Can I give you my cell phone number? That way you can just call me directly?
Sure.
Okay. And whenever you're ready.
Go for it. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, man. I'll look forward to your call, okay?
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So he did really well. He asked 3 times right out of the gate. Loved that. He did not ask my name until I asked him what his name was, which is a big no-no. Because if at any point I had stopped, he had nothing. There's no way he could have called me back because he wouldn't have had that's like creepy guy status at that point. One of the other things that I tell my team is when you get an email address and you get a phone number and you opt them into texting right away, then you have 3 forms of communication with them right out of the gate. Then if for some reason they decide to not respond to an email, you still have 2 forms of communication. If they decide to not answer their phone, then you still have 1 form of communication. But if you only get a phone number and you never send an opt-in text, then you have 1 form of communication. And if they don't answer, that's it. So when your customer likes you, get the information you want, because at some point they might not like you. And then you don't have a way to get through to them and change their mind. Also, sadly, he never asked me about if I had a trade, which is unfortunate because that's a really, really great way to get a customer in the building. But for the most part, he did good. A lot better than last time we secret shopped together. Today on the show, now that we've done our secret shop and learned a little bit, he didn't really ask me any who, what, where, when, whys. He didn't ask me why I needed a truck, what I was using it for. But he was good enough in his job that I didn't realize he asked that. He didn't ask that. Anyway, today on the show, our guest for this week, Tim Warren. Welcome to the show, Tim. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Oh, thank you. Nice to be here. Thanks, Charity.
No problem. Where are you located?
I'm in Cincinnati. That's where our corporate headquarters is. That's where my wife and I lived for like the past 10 years or so.
10 years. It's cold there right now.
It is very cold. We have had snow. Looking out my windows, we've had snow for like the last week or so, off and on, to the point where it was like, I have an RV, and you get to the like, oh, I got to winterize this thing. But usually we don't have to winterize until like December. So it was a like rush to winterize before all the pipes freeze on the RV. One of those.
Oh no, interesting. Yeah. I used to live in. I grew up in Idaho, and then I used to live in Montana, and I've lived in South Dakota. And now I live in the Southwest, and I'm fine down here.
Some deep red states. That's awesome. Deep red.
Nice and warm.
What's it like? My mom lives in Phoenix. I'm going to Phoenix next week to visit her for Thanksgiving. What's the biggest thing you've seen different from Southwest versus Montana, Wyoming, that area?
Other than the weather, culture.
Yeah.
Culture for sure. My favorite place that I've ever lived was South Dakota. People are in the Midwest are just the most easygoing, level-headed, kind, welcoming people I have ever met. Yeah.
Did you go to Sturgis, the motorcycle rally ever?
That's actually a really funny story. I didn't know that Sturgis was a thing.
Yeah.
And we were like, hey, let's move to South Dakota. So we get a U-Haul and we attach a car to the back of the U-Haul, and we've got our truck, and I'm driving the U-Haul with the car attached through Sturgis. So we're talking motorcycles everywhere. I didn't dare switch lanes. I didn't. It was like, I know they're there.
Yeah. So we took this is 2 years ago. We took a trip. So we have a Ford truck, the F-150, and at the time we didn't have an RV. And we were like exploring campers and RVs. So we rent one on one of those rental websites, and we go on and we rent a camper. And we drive with me and my wife's dad and her brother-in-law and their families. So we kind of caravan. We drive all the way to Wyoming and back. And
from Ohio.
We go to Sturgis from Ohio. Yeah, it's like a 24-hour drive each way. We go to Mount Rushmore. We do the Badlands, and then we stop in Sturgis to get gas or whatever. This one thing, and then it was like this little town, and then there's like the home of the motorcycle rally and the COVID super spreader, and whatever. Somehow we survived. Somehow we survived. But
I think that's what everybody says after Sturgis. Somehow we survived.
Somehow we survived, exactly. So, but it was great. It was like this little town in the middle of nowhere that's like this epic destination for motorcycle. And I have a BMW motorcycle I like to ride as well. So it was this cool thing of like, we accidentally ended up in like the motorcycle capital of the world, like in the middle of nowhere by accident. So that was our Sturgis experience as well.
Yeah, Sturgis is crazy. And then you can see people, I live just on the edge of Nevada, and they like to drive through Nevada on their way to Sturgis.
Yeah.
So there'll be flyers that go up everywhere, and you'll see all of these like foreigners with their Harleys.
Yeah.
Because they don't realize that Nevada is a desert, and have you ever been in Nevada? It's a barren wasteland. Like there's no cell service. There's nothing.
I've been to Reno. And once you get out of the city, it was like pretty barren.
Yeah. They do a lot of the speed tests on cars out in Nevada or up on the Bonneville Flats. Because you can.
That Bonneville Flats is in Nevada?
It's right on the edge of Utah and Nevada, but it's
I thought it was Utah because the salt flats, right? Is in Utah.
But it's all of Nevada's. Just you can go 100 miles and not see anyone or anything. And then they take their motorcycles through there unknowingly in the middle of the hottest part of the year. So there's all these flyers that are like, do not do this.
Do they just break down and then like become those little skeletons on the side of the road with the vultures? Like, is that what happens to them?
Yeah, they'll break down. You see that stuff all the time down here.
Oh, really? Okay.
People will come And I'm sure you see that kind of stuff up in Ohio. People go there without knowing what the winters are like, and then they die in the winter. People come here not knowing what the desert's like, and then they die in the desert.
I will say, so like Cincinnati, we'll get a couple big snows every year, but nothing crazy. But it once you go a little further north, like Michigan, like state right above us, or like Wisconsin, like if you don't know what you're doing, you will die in the winter for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, I didn't have the right kind of battery, and all my fluids froze in the car, and everybody died. You have to like be pretty. That stuff's pretty legit. Like you have to take it pretty seriously. I'd say Ohio is just at the tip before that happens.
Just
yeah. Where it's not, it never gets quite cold enough here that you have to do all the special like winterizing to your truck and like all where it gets so cold that like it's negative 40 and the battery won't.
Yeah, right.
We're not ever quite there, but it does get cold here for sure. It's not like where you live where it never snows or whatever. I do wish I like the snow. I wish it snowed a lot more than it does here. Like I've been one of those people. I love to ski and stuff. So I wish it snowed all the time, but
that's it. No, I don't miss it at all. The snow at all. So your company does SEO.
We do.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about your company.
Yeah, so I'm one of the founders and the CEO of a company called Helium SEO. We started as a just SEO shop. We didn't do anything else. We wanted to be very focused and very niche. And we actually started by building artificial intelligence technology to try to make SEO better. So our first idea, Charity, was we wanted to be this tech product. We weren't going to do any of the service. We were just going to have another SEO technology. We started in early 2018, like late 2017, early 2018. And so we launched, and a lot of our customers basically said, hey, this is great technology, but I really want someone to do SEO for me. I want that more. There's so many tech products. There's so much at the time. There's SEO Rush and Ahrefs and Screaming Frog, and a million of them, Bright Edge, and all these ones. Like, I don't want another software. I just want someone who can do this for me, but do it really well. And it's a huge industry, right? $80 billion a year total addressable market. Super fragmented. It's just incredibly fragmented. So we started the business, and we quickly realized that A, most people were unhappy with their service. B, the technology allowed us to drive superior results, but we needed a service team to explain it and deliver it and walk clients through it because they're not SEO experts and they don't want to be. They don't want to understand how Google's algorithm does, authority matching and the algorithms for content and all that. So that's how we started. Today we're about 65 employees. We have an entire arm called Venture Automotive that just services the automotive industry, not OEMs, but dealers directly. And we work with many large household name brands, both in the automotive space and then in the consumer space as well.
So I'm sure that you get this one, so I want you to dispel and explain to everybody.
Yes, SEO myths. Let's do it.
Here's your moment.
Love this.
The one that makes me crazy and makes, I'm sure, you crazy is when they go, I just Googled used cars near me and my dealership did not pop up. You're not doing your job right. Take a moment and tell us why that's wrong, shall?
Okay. A lot to unpack there. So the very first thing is SEO is performance marketing. So it should all be based on ROI. There are millions of keywords you could rank for, right? Used car near me, Ford dealer, F-150, best F-150 deal near me. You pick the keyword, okay? You could pick a million keywords, and there are millions of keywords. I don't know if you know the statistic, Charity, but every month, 66% of the keywords that are searched in Google have never been searched ever before in the history of Google.
Really? 66%?
More than half. Isn't that crazy? And so while used car near me gets searched all the time and has been searched for the last 15 years, so many of the keywords are constantly being invented or they're new things, right? Like TikTok. What is TikTok? TikTok app. So when TikTok first came out, there were thousands and millions of new searches for TikTok-related keywords that have never been searched before. What the heck is TikTok, right? And so the interesting thing about it is there are always new keywords being invented as the market and the world changes, right? So when COVID came out, no one ever searched for coronaviruses. Then all of a sudden, there were billions of COVID-related keywords that were being searched. With automotive dealerships and car dealerships, it's a similar thing in that there are thousands of potential keywords you could rank for your OEM, for the makes and models, for used versus new, for service-related keywords, for oil changes, for tire change. There's all these different things. But many of those keywords are going to be way more expensive to rank for than you want to pay, because you're up against very large brands, very big tire companies or automotive OEMs that you don't want to rank against. And you have co-op dollars and they're paying you to run TV ads. And then you also spend all that money. And maybe you don't sell enough used cars to drive the ROI to actually rank for those keywords. So that's kind of point number one. Point number two is if you're running ads for used car near me, and people are clicking on the ads, and then you're running SEO and you're trying to hit that same market with both, that can be great. But what can happen is you don't have enough budget as a dealership to run all of the ads you want to run and all the organic and all the social. So you're going to have to pick and choose what's going to drive the best results. Also, the person searching a used car near me may not be your ideal customer, right? They might be looking for a really cheap car. And then, let's go to the third reason, you're now up against Auto Trader and Cars.com and Carvana and CarMax that have super authoritative websites, like domain ratings in the 95. And the average dealership that we're going to look at is going to have a 19 or a 20. So this CarMax and Carvana, their domain rating is 500 to 700 times more authoritative than your site, because it's a logarithmic curve. It exponentially goes up every 10. And so the amount of money you'd have to spend to outrank them is astronomically higher than the amount of money you'd ever make for ranking from that keyword. So that's a complicated way of saying the three reasons why. Usually that's not the right play.
No, there was so much information in there. I loved that so much.
Let me say this, Charity. Okay, let me say this. I'm not saying not to do whatever. The key, though, usually for most dealerships is try to go niche. Don't rank for used car near me, right? Maybe rank for, used F-150s for sale Cincinnati, something like that, right? Put a local modifier where you're trying to limit the amount of competitive sites you're going after, and you have a way better chance of ranking for the Cincinnati term than just near me, where it's like Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, Eastern Indiana, these bigger ranges. There's way more dealers. There's maps. It's harder to get that. It makes it way more complicated. So go for a smaller niche. The lower your domain rating is, the more you need to focus on longer tail keywords and less competitive searches. That's just what you can run for.
So one of the things that I've got an iPhone.
Yeah.
And I clicked on, at some point when the latest update came on, it gave me the option to hide myself. I don't even have a clue how I did it. I don't remember I can't undo it. But I can't type near me into my searches anymore, because it'll send me to the other side of the state.
Right. It doesn't know where you are.
Which is not where I'm at. But because I did whatever I did with my phone, now if I say, used car near me, it's going to send me to Salt Lake City, which is 5 hours away from me. Right. So that doesn't even work, because I'm not your target market at all. I just accidentally pushed a button in my phone. Yeah.
And I mean, probably a lot of people listening, cookies, right? Cookies are going away in browsers and on phones. And so as cookies go away, the targeting is going to get worse, right?
Yeah.
For ads specifically. Now for organic, what's interesting is organic, and this is one of the things when we talk to dealerships about why should you be doing organic? Because it's competitive, it's hard, right? Like, it's not an easy thing to do. Why would you do organic? Well, as cookies go away and your iPhone doesn't really know where you're located, all the ad dollars that they're spending to get in front of you 5 hours away is because you hid yourself, so they don't know where you are, but they're going to run ads for Salt Lake City. If you click on those, it's a complete waste of money, because you're not going to drive to Salt Lake City to buy your next car, right? Right. And so, but with organic, one of the key things is it's much, much, much more keyword driven, right? Not cookie driven. Mm-hmm. Because with organic, you search like F-150 for sale, F-150 for sale, whatever, right? that's the keyword I'm looking for. It doesn't really need to be near me. I don't really care. I just want to see what F150 is. And I don't care if it's in Georgia or whatever. Now, if you want to get people local to your dealership for like oil change, you might search like oil change, Reno, Nevada. Well, that person wants it in Reno, right? And they're going to rank in Reno. The near me can work, but with Google, one of the nice things with organic is it doesn't rely on cookies. It's just the keyword, right? And so yes, if you log out of everything, you've got ad blocker and you have a VPN and it thinks you're in Russia, for sure, it's going to serve you the wrong keywords still. But for the average user that has ad blocker and they've got their the cookies are no longer functioning, their ads are not going to be as targeted, but they're still going to go search organic, this exact keyword they want, right? Hair salon near me, and Google's going to give them the closest ones near their address, and it's going to be relevant. So that's the other reason dealers need to be thinking about SEO is as cookies go away and as privacy stuff increases, that will make ads harder to serve, and organic will be better because people will type in exactly what they want.
Right.
Now more than ever, businesses need more efficient sales. That's why thousands of dealerships trust 4Eyes to help with things like automated inventory email updates and ensuring all of your leads get into the CRM. To try 4Eyes for free, visit 4eyes.io/dealertalk. That's 4eyes.io/dealertalk.
All right.
66% are new words, new searches.
60% of searches have never been searched before. So, interesting fact about that, right, is for businesses, that obviously affects businesses some. A lot of times it's like pop culture, new trends, things like that happening. But we have to think about for businesses that what it means is search terms are always evolving and new things are always happening. And in the car industry, right, what is one of the most common not prefixes, what do you call it when you put it at the end? It's what do you call it? I'm not an English major. It's the thing you put at the end of your search, right? What's one of the most common prefixes or end fixes, or whatever that thing is called, on a car search? It's a date, right? You say 2022 Ford F-150, right? Or 2017 F-150 Super Crew, right? Whatever. And so we think about that every single year, all of those searches will change. And all of a sudden, now in 2023, there's going to be millions and millions of new keywords around every car, make, model, trim with that new year that didn't exist the year before. Cool, huh?
That's fascinating to me. I love words. Like I love language and words and stuff. So that's fascinating. I just read this morning in the Morning Brew, they were talking about the dictionary people, Webster possibly, released their word of the year.
Okay.
And it was Homer, because Wordle had a game in like May or something where that was the word and nobody knew what it was. And so on that day that Wordle had that word, the dictionary website got bombarded with people searching what the word meant. And of course,
like a home run, like a homer?
Like a home run.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the word of the year because they flooded, like that one day pushed it over the top of all of the other words for the year.
Wordle's fun, but I think what I learned there is it probably got blamed on millennials in some way. What
you learned is that baseball's dying.
Yeah. I think somewhere the talking heads blamed that on millennials and Gen Zs, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't know what a homer is. They only know what a social app is.
Right. So that's what I thought of when you said the 66%. Like, that's fascinating to me.
So if we think about it, right? So it's like, all right, so how does that affect SEO and searches and dealers and how does it all fit in, right? What it means is if you do SEO, you have to be up to date with what's going on. And you also have to be smart about knowing what makes your dealership money and the ROI, because you can't rank for every make and model of car. You can't rank for every new and used in Google organic at the top because it's too expensive. You can't rank for every year because every year it'll literally change. And so ads are a really good way to go after this because it's scalable and you can easily target the audiences. But as cookies go away and as people hide their location from their iPhones, like certain people on this podcast, and as ad blockers get more popular and all that stuff, it's going to be harder and harder to target people because they're going to skip ads. And you probably know this, but like the average American sees 3,000 ads a day. Right? People are so bombarded. And so one of the keys, Daryl actually sent me an article that one of the top ways that you can combat ad fatigue is through ad relevance, right? Make your ads funny, make them interesting, and make them hyper relevant to your target audience, right? And so honestly, even though organic is not an ad, it's still selling something, right? And I think that's one of the ways dealerships can fight ad fatigue is through rank for very, very hyper relevant stuff. That's exactly what people are looking for.
So what are some examples for somebody in the automotive space, like a dealer principal listening to this? What do they need to do?
All right. So first off, start with the stuff that makes you the most money, right? Because it all should be a formula. So if it's used cars make you the most, then ranking for used car keywords might be a good idea. But let's look at the keywords that are gonna you actually can win for, right? So you can't rank for just used cars.
Right.
That's way too competitive, right? You cannot compete with Carvana and all those guys. So first, niche down into your city or your local area, right? Not even maybe Reno, maybe it's a part of Reno, right? A section of Reno. We're going to try to get all the people around there. So go for really long tail, really focused niche keywords around best prices on used Ford trucks near me or whatever, right? Go real long tail, right? That's point number one. Point number two is focus on the products or services, whether it's used cars, new cars, oil changes, whatever, that make you the most money that you think are more evergreen. That's a really good place to do SEO. So if oil changes are a really good way to get people in the door and you make money on them, but it's mostly because then they find more stuff wrong with the car and then they want to go look at leases while they're in the thing, then maybe you go for oil changes. Maybe you spend the money on that because of the return, but don't just do SEO hoping we'll see what happens. No, it's never going to work that way. And don't do oil changes nationwide, obviously. Don't even do it citywide. Do it in your local area because people are not going to drive across Reno for an oil change. They're just not, right? They're only going to drive very close to low. So just try to market in your one little 5-mile radius. That's who's going to come to you for oil changes, right? So those are the ideas. And then for SEO, when people search something, you got to think about the product they're looking for. And so one thing that we tell people is one of the easiest low-hanging fruit opportunities is to just optimize all your car listings with all of the details so that you do SEO automatically. So every time you have a VDP, right, a vehicle dealer page, you take your VDP page and you just optimize, put all the crap in there, that everything you could imagine about that car. We have a tool we use called Comment Genie that does that. But you just go in there and you fill everything out. So it's make, model, year, heated seats, Bluetooth, this, feature, detail. Then when someone searches 2022 Nissan Maxima with this, your car pops at the very top because you're the most absolute relevant search for that thing. Oh, sweet. They click on it, you sell the car. That's one of the easiest ways to do it. You just make sure that your site has all the best content so it's really relevant when someone searches for it.
But then the other thing that I run into and I think is short-sighted and quite comical is that people hire a part-time person to do that stuff. Oh, well, you can do some social media, you can do some blog posting. This is consistent, hard, long work that has to be perpetually changing and growing depending on Wordle.
Wordle words. Yeah.
And that's not a part-time job. It's so much more than that. Would you agree?
I would agree, actually, Charity, because I think, so I was talking to someone about this earlier, our VP of client service, and he said that we're talking about when do companies or dealers renew every year and when do they not renew? And it comes down to two things. Do they like the person they work with? They think they're smart, they think they're great, they deliver great service. And then do they feel like that what they pay for is worth more than what they pay? Whether it's $2,000 a month or $20,000 a month, is it worth more than I'm paying? Am I getting a deal, right? And when you think about dealerships, I think so often, and this is just not just throw anybody under the bus, but I think so often dealerships have a very hard time understanding the value of social media, or the value of their website.
Oh yeah.
And so then they say, well, I don't really know what it's worth, so I'm going to get a part-time person just to manage my social, my website, because I don't know what it's worth. The problem with that is you're assuming this part-time person is not worth very much. You're assuming your website's not worth very much, or your social's not worth very much. And because you can't monetize it, you're assuming it's low. But you know how much your service department's worth. So you know how much you're willing to spend on that.
Right.
And so that's where I think the mistake gets made, Charity, is not realizing how critical your website is to your marketing presence, and overestimating maybe your radio presence, your TV presence, or the brand name, or customers who have bought from us before, or all of that stuff, which are, don't get me wrong, those are definitely important pieces. But don't underestimate the value of your website and put a part-time college student on there to do your social, because I don't use Facebook. My daughter uses Facebook. I get that, but you are undervaluing what it could do for your business.
Oh yeah, for sure. Your daughter uses Facebook and you don't? I thought that
That's an example. My daughter's 9, so good as an example. Good point.
It's like, I don't think any of my kids are on Facebook. I haven't had to worry about that one at all.
Good point. I used a bad example. All your kids are on TikTok and you're on Facebook.
And you're on Facebook, right?
Yeah. That's what I should have said. I dated myself there. Oh no. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So the other thing is that what happens is when you do hire a part-time person, or they don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand how to enable better ranking on their website with what they're using or how they're using it. So what are some of the ways that you can rank better? Just little things that a dealership can do to make it better for themselves.
Great question. All right. Couple things. Number one, you have to understand every single website, like whether it's social media or it's Google, every one of them has a completely different algorithm. Okay. So you cannot hire a person that is your digital marketing expert or your social media expert. That's not a thing. Facebook has a different algorithm than Instagram, that has a different algorithm than TikTok, that has a different algorithm than Gas, that has a different algorithm. They're all different, okay? And so Google is completely different than all of those, completely different. And so if you really want to win on every platform, you need an expert on every platform.
That sounds expensive.
It is, unless you use an outsourced agency like a Venture that does it all in one place, that pays for all the experts, and you just get a sliver of their time as you need it. You get all the experts without having to staff all the experts. That's point number one. We tell people it's all about specialization, because a Google search expert is not a Google Ads expert, is not a Facebook expert. They're all different. So if you want the right result, you need to have an expert on each platform. Okay, that's what it is. What's the other small things you can do? On your vehicle dealer pages, put everything you possibly can fill out. Because the more car related someone is, right? Car guys, they're going to search really specific stuff, what they want, right? I want a 2022 Nissan Maxima, 22-inch wheels, blah, 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 matte black, like they're putting all this stuff in, and they Google it. And if your dealership has all that filled out in your VDP pages, you're going to rank at the very top, especially because you're local to that guy probably as well. He's going to see your car, he's going to call you, you're going to get a deal done. That's a super low hanging fruit. We have a tool called Adventure Automotive. If you're interested, it's called Comment Genie. It does it for you automatically every month, right? It pulls from the listing, it pulls from the VIN, and it does it for you automatically. If you don't want to use that tool, you can do it yourself, but fill out your VDP pages all the way. That's a super low opportunity. Number 3, dealerships love to do stuff in the communities, right? But they don't maximize the SEO value. So let's say that you donate to the Little League or you donate to the charity. My encouragement to you is, instead of just doing that, why don't you call up the charity and say, hey, we're going to donate a car to you guys, or we're going to do this thing because we want to support you. All we ask is that you on your blog, you don't even talk about the dealership, you just talk about the thing, like, hey, we're doing this thing with so and so automotive or so and so automotive group, whoever the name is, okay? Just put it on your website and then link back to our site. We'll take the backlink for SEO, great for our web presence. You get the press, you get all of that stuff, and then the dealership gets to put on their website, hey, we helped the Salvation Army. We gave them a car for Santa to drive around and ring the bell. We're super happy to support, talk about them. They'll link to you, you get a backlink, your site becomes more valuable, you have better authority, and you get the press and the promotion and the community service. You get all of them in one. So many times dealerships do these things, and they just, because they don't have an SEO expert like you or me that they're talking to, they don't get all the value out of the same thing that they're already doing today.
Those are all really good ideas. I like the community one a lot, because that one, the thing that you run into is that people don't want to brag about the things that they do for the community, but you're just asking the place that you're doing business with to talk. Yeah.
And if you do the promotion on your site, you don't have to say what you even did for the community, the charity. You just have to support the charity. You just say, hey, this Christmas we're supporting the Salvation Army. We encourage you guys to do the same. You can donate here, whatever. And then on the back end, they call Salvation Army and say, hey, we're going to donate a car. Like, you can talk about that if you want. All we ask is you put on your website that we're going to, that we worked with you or something. Just a quick blog. All we want is that backlink. The rest of it's on us. And they're like, of course they're going to do that, right? Why not? And then you get all those free backlinks. So little things like that, right? On the social side, so one thing dealers need to be aware of, and this is a myth, getting the more links you have from social media does not help your SEO at all. The more ads you spend does not improve your SEO at all. Okay, you have to actually do SEO. Ad spend and social, none of that promotes SEO in any way. The algorithms are built for that. So the reason that people think of, they're like, oh, well, if I get a bunch of stuff on Facebook and Facebook likes, it'll help my SEO. No, it doesn't. It's just that's not one of the ranking factors that people look at. So you just have to know that they really are different. Dealers have to be aware that you can spend $1 million a month in AdWords. It will not make you rank in Google, and you can do all the Facebook promotions and ads and stuff you want. It won't help your SEO a single bit. They are totally separate.
Okay, so this one might just be me not having a clue, but it's always one that I've wondered about.
Yeah.
When you're doing things like putting a photo on a blog post, or when I'm doing a reel on, or reels on TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and I don't know what the TikTok one is. Yeah. I'm too much of a boomer. I don't know.
But you could change the name of the audio. So way back when, I remember hearing that if you're going to add a photo, change the name of the photo. If you're going to add audio, change the name of the audio. Is that true?
Okay, that is true for like people would do that. They'd add a car to the website, and instead of just naming it car.jpg, they would name it Nissan Altima, right? Does that help your SEO? Yes, but like 0.01%.
But like a drop in the bucket.
It's a drop in the bucket. Like it technically is there. All that does, Charity, is have you ever loaded a website and like all the CSS doesn't load, and it's just a bunch of links and this weird thing on the left side? It looks like something out of a Matrix movie. Well, that's a website without any of the CSS or cascading style sheet. That's how it looks if there's none of the stuff that makes it look pretty. And so when you alt tag your images, what you do is you tell Google's algorithm, if this image doesn't load, this is what you're supposed to put here instead. Don't just say car, say Nissan Altima. So it's supposed to make your site ever so slightly more relevant for Nissan Altima. Okay, that's the idea.
But then you've got the amount of effort going into changing.
And it's not really going to make a difference. Okay. Like on YouTube though, or Instagram, when you change the audio to say something like what it is, it does increase the relevance. So you're going to rank for those searches more, or it's going to better know what you're relevant for. That stuff does make a difference. It's not everything though. So like I'll take YouTube as a because I know YouTube's algorithm well. YouTube's algorithm, you can put all the show notes in there. You can transcribe. You can put keywords. You can build backlinks. Doesn't really matter. YouTube algorithm, they look at how many people watch the video, all the way through. The more people that watch the video to the very end, the more people they recommend the video to because they think it's more engaging content. That's like the number one thing, okay? And then they'll look at the
I just got
metrics.
tricked by YouTube.
Oh. All these algorithms, they're all built for one thing, Charity, which is for you to spend as much time on that platform as possible.
Interesting.
Ads dollars, then they make tons of money. That's how they all work. They want to keep in the platform. So YouTube rewards the creators whose people watch their videos the longest. That's really all YouTube is. So you can do all other stuff. That's great. And you have like, oh, I made this really, really nice thumbnail. Then more people will probably click on your thumbnail. But if your content's not good, they won't watch it, and your video will actually get deranked. If you start the content, they only make it like a tenth of the way through, and then they quit. The video will go down in popularity because it's not engaging.
So when thought train, I'm just going to go down the thought train. When you get one of those people, because we do all kinds of social media, and I'm in charge of it, so I'm learning every day.
Sure.
And you get all these emails from these people who are like, well, I can help your rankings. Are they saying that they're going to pay somebody to watch my video all the way through?
On YouTube, you mean?
Yeah.
All right. That's a good question. Well, I would be like, oh, cool. Like, that'd be great to help my rankings. A, what are you exactly going to do? B, how much can you increase my rankings by and by when? And back to the exact tactics, when's that going to drive results? And then how much is it going to cost? Right? Because it's the same as when someone emails you, dear sir, madam, I can rank your website better in Google. You're like, why didn't you just take the time to like look up if I'm a sir or madam? Just why do you say dear sir? It's like obviously now I know you're a spammer. But then the thing is, it's like, well, so then the question is like, well, what are you going to do to my website? What are you going to do exactly? Well, we're going to update your listings. That's not going to do anything, right? If we're going to add some keywords to your metadata, that's not going to do anything either. So it's technically like SEO, right? But so for the YouTube one, I mean, you could ask them and they might say, yeah, we built a bot that clicks on your video and watches it all the way through and then likes the video. That's kind of cool. That might do something, right? So some of that stuff does work. Just know that a lot of those companies, they're just preying on people who just have no idea what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. I just assume that they're all preying on me.
That's probably a good assumption. Yeah, that's probably a go with that one. It's probably not legit. Yeah. But I mean, so there are like user bots or whatever, where like Twitch streamers and stuff, like bots that make their Twitch account look larger, and then people want to join because the account looks bigger, so it looks more popular and stuff. I mean, all that stuff exists. Anytime you have something that can be gamed, people are going to try to game it.
Yeah. Fascinating. So you said that you just got back from where? A conference?
Actually, one of our SEO directors at Helium went to a conference called SMX, which is basically, it's about the future of SEO. So Google usually comes, Bing comes, and they talk about the search engines and the AI and the algorithms and stuff they're working on. And, they want the search community to know what's the future so they can be working towards it.
What is something that really, really interesting that you got out of that?
Yeah, so one of the, and I believe this was a Google engineer talking about the algorithms, and he said, one of the big things he said, this coming year, they're really going to be working to try to identify content, a standalone content, and how much of it is truly human created, valuable content, and how much of it is just AI created. And so, although they promote you should use AI, and AI is really good, and we use AI, and Brain, and all these things are great, the whole point of his talk was to say, essentially, if you're creating a lot of AI-generated content, the time is coming soon where you won't rank with that stuff anymore. So that was interesting. That was an interesting takeaway. It is a good reminder. Like at Helium, we have an in-house content team. We write our own content. We use humans, and we do use AI to help humans write faster, more efficiently, spell check, all that kind of stuff. But the humans are driving it and making sure that it's really good quality content. And Google is really trying to go that direction because so many brands are trying to just use AI to do all the stuff for them, and the quality is just not that good. And so that's one takeaway is make sure what you do is truly quality and it's not just all done by an AI. AI stuff is cheap, but Google's going to be trying to target that. That's good to know. The other takeaway, which I thought was interesting, is on the flip side, then Google talked about, like, and the next speaker talked about how impactful AI is and how much it can change and how good AI is. Okay. So what that takeaway for us is Google's going to try to change what they can to make sure people buy ads, but their algorithm now is pretty advanced and it's pretty, like, it's been here for a while. It's like 23 years old now. So we are a bit skeptical of how much really can change, right? Like, we feel like Google's algorithm is
like
kind
moving
of
a ship.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's this giant aircraft carrier now. Like, it's not going to change that much. And we've actually done studies to reverse engineer Google's algorithm and what truly matters. There's 220 ranking factors, but which ones actually drive your search results? And so, Charity, we've done, I could get into the technical details. I won't bore the listeners with that, but we've actually built our own sites and literally set up all the ranking factors and used tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush to test which ones of them actually drove ranking results, like very nerdy details. What we found was that 90% of SEO came down to two things. Number one, how many and how good the backlinks were to your pages. Number two is how long and how quality the content was on those pages. That's it.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Length. How long?
The average number one ranking site in Google is somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 words long on average.
Per page.
Per page, yeah. So why does Google like really long content? They believe that the longer an article is, the more thorough, the more supporting evidence it's going to have, the more thoroughly it's answering the person's question, and especially if it links out to other resources, if it has reviews, if it has comments, if it has all that kind of stuff. They like really long form content. They believe that it's going to be more thorough and well researched than a really short piece of content. That's what Google believes. So right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what they want. So make your stuff really long and try to put a lot of different stuff in there that makes it relevant for the keyword you're going after.
So we're just going to take that whole part out so that Herb doesn't hear that, so he doesn't make me write longer blog posts. Because 2,000 to 3,000 words is a very long article.
Long. Now, here's the thing, Jared, is you don't need every blog to be that way. So, do you know Ahrefs, the SEO software? Have you heard of them?
Say that again.
Ahrefs.
No, I don't know that one.
Just Google Ahrefs. It's one of the top SEO softwares. It's very expensive, but it's probably the best. Their CMO came in, and they used to blog like every week. And he was like, nope, we're going to blog once a quarter. And we're going to make it the best article people have ever read. We're going to do 4 of them a year. That's it. That's going to be like 15 pages long and amazing.
Yeah.
And if you look at their SaaS company, look at their revenue, it went like this.
Fascinating.
Because he said less but way higher quality is going to be far better, and he was spot on. So what we recommend is don't just write 10 really average, like kind of crappy blogs. Write very few really good articles and then do a ton of linking to those, and you'll end up writing the same amount of content or less, but it'll be very concentrated around very powerful pages that'll actually rank and drive all of your traffic. That's what we do at Helium.
Huh.
It's a different strategy, but it's what the best companies do.
Interesting. Okay, so thank you so much. This is the most fascinating, and I could go down this rabbit hole for a while with you. But take some time to tell people how they can reach you. I've got one more question for you, but how they can reach you and do your spiel.
Yeah. Well, so if you guys want to hear more or reach out, we have 2 companies, Venture Automotive. We only serve automotive dealers all across the U.S. We work on Ford dealers, we work on Chevy dealers, we work on Honda dealers, and many, many other brands. So if you're an independent or multi-rooftop store, we'd love to talk to you. Feel free to reach out. You can reach out to me, Tim. I'm on LinkedIn, just Helium SEO, and I'm sure Charity put my details in the show notes as well via email or phone. We'd love to hear from you, but feel free to reach out either Helium SEO or Venture Automotive. Google either one of us will come up right at the top. Because we do our own SEO. We'd love to hear from you guys.
It would be bad if you didn't come up right at the top.
That'd be very bad. Yeah, that'd be very embarrassing. We get ranked for our own stuff, right?
So Herb has this question that he asks at the end of every episode, and I tweak it when I'm doing them on my own. So how do you think we could improve the automotive industry in the next 5 years?
Good question. All right, I have an idea.
Okay.
I have a car that I want to sell back now because I ordered a new one. Okay, so I'm a BMW guy. I really like BMW, so I ordered the new one, and I have the M3 now, and I'm going to make way more money on it if I sell it personally. It's a huge hassle. But if I sell it to the dealership, I'm going to make way less money on it, but it's way easier. Okay, I wish we could bridge that gulf and make it much easier to sell my car versus on AutoTrader or Cars.com, and I make way more money, but it's way more of a hassle. We bridge that gap and make it way simpler for me to go to the dealership and say, here, you take it, but then I don't make $10,000 or $15,000 less than I would if I sell it on AutoTrader. It's too big of a gap. So I think one of the ways we can improve the auto industry is to have there be a easier system for me to just give my car back to the dealer, but not get the black book price. Maybe I get the blue book price, right? But it's just, I take such a bath on it that it's painful. It's a cringe to like give it back to the dealer versus selling it myself. But that's a huge hassle. That if we could solve that problem, that convenience factor, that would make the automotive industry so much better.
Yeah, I definitely would. I can see that. Would agree with that. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. This was absolutely fascinating. I kept up too, so that was good. And that is everything for today, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of my hosting experience. And as usual, we will talk later.
We only host a well-respected. The vendor LexisNexis. We don't sell digital marketing.
What you do?
We inspect it. What our DT vendor man is missing.
Now more than ever, businesses need more efficient sales. That's why thousands of dealerships trust 4Eyes to help with things like automated inventory email updates and ensuring all of your leads get into the CRM. To try 4Eyes for free, visit 4eyes.io/dealertalk. That's 4eyes.io/dealertalk.